What's up, one and all? This is the Peace Dealer. I have a boo-boo on my finger because I opened up the door and I got a little bit afraid of I don't know if it was like a bird that flew in the door. I don't know. But I scratched my finger. I have a little boo-boo and it's all good. But peace. I like to be non sequitur just to kind of state break some of y'all. But yeah, before I go into this, shout out to everyone in the live chat. I'm still working on my equipment. Last time I got the video up, but I thought that I was using my new audio settings, and I wasn't. I wasn't. You know how you just do something and then you don't realize until the very end that you didn't do it at all. And I was using the wrong mic. So this time, I don't know how to use this camera mic that I got, but I have hooked up my blue microphone that I use to record music. Can y'all hear me? Okay. How's the quality of sound? Do I sound a little bit low? Do I sound just right? This is me looking at the equipment. This is me looking at my mic. This is me looking at the live chat. So it is what it is. You have definitely joined me at a very amazing period because I'm going to be talking about Venus and Gemini. And y'all need to leave Venus and Gemini alone. Y'all talking about Venus and Gemini is some promiscuous, can't be faithful ass people. And that could be true to a degree, but y'all need to leave Venus and Gemini alone. Just because Venus and Gemini gets it and Venus and Gemini knows that they can experience the divine in all sorts of different people, which is more Venus and Pisces. Venus and Gemini is just trying to socialize. Okay, so keep that in mind. When you also keep in mind that the energy of Venus and Gemini is going to encourage you at length to talk to different people. But once again, since we're really zooming in on Venus, this is another reason why I had to make that spiritual astrology webinar, because people just kind of have shit out of whack. Excuse my language. I keep saying excuse my language when the last thing I care about is how I curse, but excuse my language. What is very important about Venus is, do you see it as love? The reason why astrologers have assigned certain planets to other meanings isn't necessarily the wrong nature of what they did, but it's the philosophy. It's about how we've been lied to. It's about how we've been lied to about love. So do you see the planet Venus as love? Sometimes I will advertise and speak to it that way, because if I was to say, you know how I say you're not your zodiac sign? I'm not a Gemini. You're not a Cancer. Or someone else watching this, you're not a Sagittarius. You represent that sign. So my son represents Gemini. I'm Michael. That's the name that my parents gave me. I also have a spirit name before I was born and chose to incarnate, right? But at the end of the day, it's just easier for me to say I'm a Gemini as opposed to saying I represent Gemini. Although I'm getting a practice and habit of doing that, because it's really, easy. It's really better to just kind of go on the real route, because the one thing that Gemini teaches people, and air, that a lot of people don't really get. And yes, Shane Mitchell, some people say Venus is Lucifer, the morning star, and I'm going to get into that. I was actually going to talk about that, so that's good confirmation. But yeah, my friends, the language you use really psychologically affects you. And sometimes when a Virgo interrupts you and corrects your diction and grammar, well, that's different. If you see a grammar Nazi, but if a Virgo or somebody corrects your language and speech, you need to listen to them, because sometimes you'll play the Pisces card, or sometimes you'll be like, all right, but you know what I mean to say. And it's beyond, sometimes you can say something to force the meaning, but the language you use is magic. The words you use are spells, and you have to make sure you say things the right way, because this is the way dark forces use to confuse you. they ascribe faulty meanings to words so that you could use the word in the wrong way. And it doesn't matter how you mean. A lot of times we think that the intent, right? A lot of times we think that the intent is all that's necessary. That's a lie. That's just the initial. You need to temper that intent with other, what's the word? With other elements, that kind of sharpen this. So as far as Venus being the morning star, that's kind of here nor there. Venus is not necessarily really Lucifer. The morning star, Hesperus, and whatever that other one was, like they were, these are how like things get lost in translation. These were really just like discoverers who decided to call it the morning star. So one thing that you need to shed moving forward is just because people on a rock planet say that something is something doesn't mean that it's something. And this applies to me too. Like I'm trying to go through this experience, trying to break down my own life experience, but that by no means means that what I say is final. So this is why I always say, like, I don't read stuff on the internet. Like I don't gain my information about these planets on Google. Some of you ask me, like, where do you get this stuff? I channel it direct from the planets. That's why a lot of you have said, I've never heard anything that you say anywhere else. That's because all these other people have to go on Google and read like 5-page articles to get some information. And not all that information is bunk, but most of that information is bunk because it's just coming from a rehashing of what some other people says. And we're on a new age. We're in a new age of Aquarius where you have the internal wisdom from Scorpio and you channel cosmic knowledge from the universe. But most people don't really believe that. And that separates the real ones from the non-real ones. And non-real is really just like an analogy for, a sleep where you can choose to be real, right? You could choose to start to be who you are. And do I believe the earth is flat? I don't know. I have to research that. And there's really not as much research that I can really trust. I'm not going to read a Google article or watch a YouTube video and believe it just because they said that. Like, I'm going to make sure I have my own experience before I draw to that conclusion. And I'm not going to be on camera fronting like I know when I don't, because that's the biggest illusion. A lot of people really thinking that they know what this life is. So that's why I have to, ask back, regardless of if you believe the morning star is Lucifer. Venus is not Lucifer. Venus kind of channels that energy because they called it the morning star, but that doesn't really make Venus the morning star. Just like, are you really your name because your parents called you that? Well, welcome to Venus and Gemini, my friends, because the first question that I need to ask y'all is Venus love to you? When you look at the planet Venus, do you look at love? Are you going to these astrologers? Are you basing transits based on where Venus is in your chart and expecting love? Because that's not how love works. And we kind of have to get out of this, you know what I'm saying? You kind of have to get out of this need or necessity of manifesting love, attracting love. You are love. You were created from love. Love is the sun. That's why it's ruled by Leo. And I'm going to say this again because some people don't accept it because they want the convenience of their textbook cookie cutter interpretations, when just like you're growing, the planetary consciousness of these planets are growing. So what does Venus and Gemini transit in a nutshell is going to do is enlighten and illuminate. And it's going to borrow on characteristics of Lucifer, the morning star, because you're going to get enlightened to so much shit. And Venus is more so your heart, whereas the sun is your spirit. But you can love from your spirit. You can love from your soul. You can love from your heart. That's going to be more the channel. So I'm going to say this one more time. Someone asked, is Venus femininity? Yes. Venus and Mars are actually 2 octaves of love. Mars is the more masculine, and then Venus is the more feminine. But Venus, in a nutshell, is ruled by Libra. Venus has everything to do with the relationship. How do you take that love in your heart and relate? I have mine in Taurus. So when it comes to relating, I'm going to be a bit more conservative in my approach. Food is the way to my heart. That's the way you want to relate to me. Let me find out you can cook. It's a wrap. As opposed to Venus and Gemini, where I'm going to relate and share my love with communication and mentally. But Venus does not mean love. So you really want to be mindful of that. Trinity asked, isn't it ruled by Taurus as well? Not really. Earth rules Taurus. I have a Venus in Taurus, and I think it's strong there. So you could say there's some rulership, but Earth, the planet Earth, really rules Taurus ultimately. And when you look at love, however, when you look at love, and Amanda said it best, Venus is really values. Venus has a lot to do with what you value, which is where that Taurus rulership comes in lightly. But when you look at love, you look at the sun. That's who you are. You look at the sun. If anything, you would look at the moon before you look at Venus, because when we attribute people thinking that Venus is love has everything to do with why love is not really that rampant in our society, because we equate love to romance. Venus is more romantic. Venus is more the expression of that love. But outside of that, this is a very important transit to where your heart is going to be enlightened to the truth of your experience. What's the last zodiac sign? Pisces. So whenever any planet transits a mutable sign, whether the sun, Venus, something is coming out to light. The mutable energies are where we gain experience built up. So whenever Aries, we identify the energy, then we manifest values, and then we experience this. So this Venus and Gemini transit we're experiencing is bringing into account Venus and Aries and Venus and Taurus, and all that work we've done is finally coming out. Venus and Gemini is amazing because during transits like this, it forces communications to kind of be a lot more open. Thank you, DeWicked2K8. Thank you very much. It forces communications to be more or less like greatly evident. And so people who you've had communication blockages with, it's not going to be so blocked now. Venus and Gemini is going to be the connection of a whole lot. And Venus and Gemini also connects and awakens twin flame vibrations within soulmates. So there's so much that happens during a very magical transit. And shout out to you, natal Venus and Geminis, you have magic love. This is a transit where love gets so magical because you're now going to be experiencing initially. This is the first initial experience. The second initial experience is when it goes to Virgo. The third initial experience is where everything we're going through now, we're starting to see the meaning of 6 months from now. And then the final initial experience is when it's in Pisces. So really keep that in mind. This is going to be a huge revelatory transit, and we just went through a whole Gemini season. So when we think about the bread trail that's the sun and Mercury has been leaving behind for Venus, that Venus is just going to pick up and be like, ooh, I love this. I value this. I enjoy this. I'm experiencing this. Venus is just super swaggy. And when she goes into Gemini, she wants to communicate this truth to the hearts of everybody that she cares about, that's valuable to her. So keep this in mind, because what you may think this Venus and Gemini transit is all about is like really opening up lines of communication for love and romance. But romance is an illusion, my friends. Romance is a subjective illusion that we place just so that we can have palatable love. It's the spice that we put so love is not bland and boring. And it actually has this figment of imagination to where we can project and place expectations reasonably so. The best romantic individuals just add a spice of it, but it's not real. Romance is not real, and romance has been commercialized. It's real in the sense that it's an aspect of your love, but it's only subjective. And a lot of you are begging and praying to God and begging and praying to have this romantic fantasy, but God's a real ass mofo. God wants to enlighten you. Okay, so this Venus and Gemini transit is going to open your heart to so much stuff that your mind and spirit have just become aware of. So the realizations that you have come to when it was Gemini season, now you're going to experience through your heart. And Gemini has all to do with connecting and really speaking your truth. And now this Venus in Gemini is going to allow you to speak your truth through your heart, with the sun in Cancer, which is giving it a 12th house effect. Love is going to get really divine. If you want to manifest a relationship, don't wait for that shit to come to you. You need to get out of the mindset of just waiting for things to happen. You need to co-create it with the universe. Sometimes the action you have to take is to surrender and like let certain things progress. But you have to have the attitude of true love, which is going to be shaped very profoundly during this transit. Let me tell you, especially if you're a mutable sign, you're going to see Geminis looking a lot more slaggy or beautiful, and the Gemini moons will be feeling it. The Gemini risings will definitely be instruments of this beautiful planet. So the last thing you really need to think about right now is love. I wanted to talk about love and romance and soulmates before, but there's really no more time to talk about that. It's a hot topic. You'll see psychics and astrologers talk about it because it's an easy way to get your money. Like, who doesn't want to know about love? See how I'm talking about the truth? Venus and Gemini, I have to be honest. Like, it's the easiest way to get your money. Let me just try and pull your heartstrings and promise that you're going to meet a soulmate. But you really need to just like, if at this point you don't believe that you're going to manifest a soulmate relationship, if you don't know, maybe it's not for you. But if it's in your heart and you know you're meant to, then at this point where Saturn is like at the end of Sag, you either believe it or not. And no one's going to coddle and hold you through this because we're in a spiritual war and we got to keep it more than a buck. Venus is in Gemini right now, and you have to only be concerned about speaking your truth. There are kids dying all over the world. There are kids getting sold into spiritual slavery. There are kids getting sold into slavery. One thing about Venus and Gemini is that she loves freedom. Just like Venus and Sagittarius, the truth to express yourself, okay? Like, you have to have that courage and the truth to express your First Amendment rights if you're even in America. There's a bunch of serious issues going on in the world, and the last thing the universe cares about are your first world problems, which majority of people hit the universe with, where it's like, how are you really even going to like manifest this when you need to really use your energy for more serious things? I had to talk about this before though, because we were in Pisces energy where you have to live your imagination and ideals, but we're moving realer. We're past Cancer season. Now it's like, what are you really doing? Are you still begging the universe to be with a soulmate? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing to help people in your community? What do you do? Like imagine if it was in a certain sense where the universe has to answer your prayer to manifest your soulmate, or answer the dying, starving person in Haiti right now who needs food. Like, come on, B. Like, for real, how serious is this spiritual path for you? Because I need to let you know your desire to be in this fantasy, romantic soulmate union is systematically programmed in you since you watch Disney films as a child. Every chick flick, even if it's not a chick flick, like every commercial you watch, from the sitcoms you watch, which instill this illusion of romance and the way that love is supposed to be, to where everyone places the most unrealistic expectations to live and hold on to a moment forever when it was never supposed to be permanent. When this life is all about experience and moments, you have to savor now, because when you have the luxury of hoping that something lasts forever, you automatically take it for granted. You automatically don't have to live to the fullest now because you expect it to be in your life forever. And nothing in life works like that, though. Nothing in life works like that. Everything in life has cycles and it actually has a beginning and an end. And so some of you are blocking out relationships because your soul knows they won't last forever. And a relationship is not successful by the amount of time it lasts. That's an illusion. That's all set up systematically to now have you competing over each other societally, say whose relationship is better, who has the most in this relationship, who has the most fulfilling love life. And life isn't even close to being about that. Life is about how you can take that love and share it with as much people as you can. But we all selfish. And until you can break out of that, until you can grow up and break out of that realization, Venus and Gemini will help you. Because if there's nothing you're going to get, it's reality checks. All those illusions that you still have in love, Venus was waiting to get into Gemini. She bitch slapped the archangels in Aries, started drinking Moscato and getting very well, felt in Taurus. And now she's in Gemini, because when she goes into Cancer, she's joining that psychic war. All right. When she goes into Cancer at the end of this month, at the end of July, and starts exposing how people really feel by the actions they take and how sincere or not they are, a lot of fakes are going to be exposed, Venus in Cancer. Well, the sun's in Leo, but with Venus and Gemini right now, it's going to be squaring Neptune. It's going to be opposing Saturn. Reality checks. Is the heart that you have aligned with your truth, or are you still trying to change who you are just so you can get with someone you have lust over? And then let's not even talk about the fact that most of y'all think you're in love with this person. You just want to have sex with them. That's it. You really just want to have sex with them. And until you self-delude yourself from this, then you'll know. Because if you truly loved them, then the whole notion of not being with them would not faze you, because you know, hey, it's just not time. But if there's that urgency, you know what I'm saying? If there's that like need, that lust, that's not love. That's not love. And Venus and Gemini is going to show you the truth of what's really love, what's not love. But it's not about love. Venus is all about your relationship. And it's in Gemini. Venus in Gemini is your relationship with truth. I hope you're on the positive side with that, because she's not going to be bitch slapping people. She's going to be slicing people with the sword, stabbing hearts. So a lot of you are going to get heartbroken. A lot of people are going to get heartbroken this transit, not because they get betrayed, but because they get betrayed by, not because they get betrayed by others, but because they get betrayed by their own expectations. A lot of you like to have these crazy intuitions about people that you don't realize is just your own desire and imagination. Sometimes your subconscious can show you what you want, and not every intuition is a sign or intuition. Not every dream is something that's meant to be. It's just an extension of your desire. So really keep this in mind, because once again, how free is freedom to you? All right, like, how much do you care about your truth? When we get into transits like this, are you really about it? Do you really care about speaking your truth, but then you still align and adhere to corporations and systems that suppress you and bring you down? You can't say that you want true spiritual freedom, but then you still support monoliths and government tyranny that keep us blinded. And not everyone's about that life. Some people want to be in that bird cage. You know what I'm saying? Just like Zep Dog said, we are just living in a bird cage. Some people want to live in that bird cage. Some people don't want any problems. Some people want to be spiritual, right? But some people don't want to deal with the ostracizing that comes from spirituality. Some people don't want to deal with the loss of friends and family that comes when they speak their truth. And Venus in Gemini is going to make you do nothing but speak your truth, as if that's all that matters. The quincunx to Pluto will make it life and death. Okay? And there's going to be huge transformation. All right? That comes from everything you choose to love. So be very mindful of the words you speak. This conscious thought movement is being a lot more, pushed upon. You have all these celebrities and influential people co-signing conscious thought and free thought and being able to really manifest what you think and make it reality. All right, these are definitely very powerful transits or magical transits that are going to make you so much more you know, aware of these themes at length. So how free is freedom to you? I consider myself a revolutionary, but I still pay taxes to the IRS, and taxation is theft. So I'm a fucking hypocrite. And it eats me inside. It's like, how stupid is that? How am I going to get in front of you and talk about, you know, breaking away from tradition, but I still pay taxes, but I still do things that make me a part of this system? It is what it is. These are definitely these are definitely a whole lot of the issues that are going to very powerfully, oh my God, that are going to very powerfully like affect a whole lot of things. I see some of y'all are going crazy in the live chat. Please calm down. But yeah, another thing about this Venus and Gemini transit that is really, really, really going to, you know, yeah, damn, Merman, I might have to block you because you always come up on the chat either dissing like a reader I have or just saying some really disrespectful shit. So, yeah, peace out, yo. One moment. I'm not trying to have any negativity in the chat. Like, no more warnings. Y'all should know better. Anyway, regardless, be very mindful of the words that you say and the words that you share, because what really comes across, thank you, communication specialist, what really comes across from your mind is going to reflect the quality of your heart and the magic that actually goes very powerfully and profoundly into the meaning of what you say. Once again, shout out to those of you combating the hate with the love in the chat. The hearts really do definitely work and help. But just know that everything that you say from the heart, this is your opportunity to change your whole reality in 1 month. It goes in July 5th. From the 5th to the 30th, this is your opportunity to change your reality just by speaking the truth of your heart, not even just to yourself, but to others, as we'll go through. And the more that you do so, the more that this magic will change, because you're going to be connecting with people who either get it or not. Thank you, Mama Bella 32. Much appreciated. And you know what I'm saying? Let's put this into some context. We're sparking off of the next phase of this spiritual warfare with, make sure you're as sincere as you really feel. If you want to get, I know I talk about warfare. For those of you who are asking, how do I get through this period? Right now, in the first phase, before we relaunch a new eclipse, is to be sincere with how you feel. Don't be fake. Don't be fake. And Venus and Gemini is going to test it, because it's going to be really hard to be fake once Venus is in Gemini. Everything you say by your language and by your body language is going to give you away. You might as well just be yourself. All right. I could tell you to do you, and that could be vague in and of itself, but we've already gone through Aries season. We've already gone through Taurus season. So you should know who you are. And if you don't, it's because you don't like what you found out and you're trying to hide from that. For those of you who are standing strong in this, you're now developing what that feels, a sincerity of how to really experience or express this. And Venus in Gemini is going to empower your heart with truth to speak. Spend a lot of time writing poetry if you want to, but you're going to have great opportunities to really express the truth of your heart. Not even what your mind feels, what your heart feels, what's true about what you find pleasing to you. And please expect that to offend some people, or at least rub people the wrong way. Because the more every Gemini knows this, like you could say 10 different things. You could say one thing that someone will love and then someone else will hate. All right. Thank you, Janine. I'm not really going to be pulling cards. For those of you sending donations, I'm not really going to be pulling cards like I usually do. I'm going to save those more for the weekend ones, just so I don't get like distracted. But I will be pulling cards though for all 12 signs as far as how the Venus and Gemini transit will affect everyone. Hopefully that doesn't stop y'all from donating, because I love that. And that'll really show where your intentions lie. But still very much thanks for those of you who have donated. Thank you, Nasasha Harrell. May you be blessed. That I can give definitely freely, the blessings. But yeah, Amanda said, do you think Gemini are scared of commitment? Gemini really isn't afraid of commitment, nor are Venus in Gemini, nor will this transit. It could seem like we are, but we know the binding nature of commitment. We know the infinite potentiality of what happens if you get in a wrong commitment. So we just want to be sure. That's what makes it indecisive. If anything, because there's that dislike, it's going to really cause others to take serious all their options. And that's and yeah, Zepta, Gemini just gets bored. So we don't want to get locked into a commitment that's just going to end up boring us, and we'll take our time, which is a convenient excuse. But when you actually have the vibration and you realize like all the different possibilities, and I'm gonna be real, like the reason why people hate Scorpio, the reason why people hate Gemini is because we're very desired signs. Like a lot of people want us, and we end up getting like tug of war, and it's like, who do we choose? Who do we commit to? But it is what it is. We kind of have to have multiple commitments to honor the energy, because we piece things together with our different experience. And Venus in Gemini is not just going to give you the truth with one person. Venus in Gemini is going to want you to speak to your mom, your sister, your friend, this prospective lover, so you get the total experience of the truth. Last thing I'll say about this before I go into the Peace Mobile is what Venus in Gemini is going to do at length is give you an initial epiphany and awareness of where relationships are in your life. Now that it's gone through Aries and you've manifested the passion of your character, it's in Taurus right now, and the seeds have been laid. There's a value in your heart that's building, and you're raising the standards on what you accept in relationships, so that when it's in Gemini, you're going to communicate this very profoundly. And not only are you going to communicate this very profoundly, but you're going to really express at great length what it is that's true to your heart. And I mean, let Donald Trump, well, let me not even bring up Donald Trump, but let Donald Trump, Kanye West, JFK, Tupac teach you the effects of when you speak your truth, because it's opposite Saturn. So for those of you who cannot have your own opinion unless other people agree with it, you're going to be screwed, and rightfully so, because that's screwing over your own personal like convictions, your own identity. This is not the time to not have an identity. Some people are just so fake. Like, when they're around one person, another person, they say something, and one will be like, yeah, no, I don't really like this president or person. I don't know. I don't really think that person is cool or not. Then when they're around someone else, they'll be like, oh, I really do like this person. I do like this president. And it's like, you're not slick just because you adapt to people. You have to be real. Thank you, Brown Brujita. Believing in numerology, 777 always work. So that's all I'm saying. Like, it is what it is. What's going to come into profound awareness is the potentialities and the connections that you're able to make. And this is only going to come by you speaking your truth. Those of you who aren't necessarily courageous enough to really express what you truly feel, then you can't really complain if you don't manifest anything, because that's just kind of how it works. You give and you get. It's an exchange, you feel me? And this is why I ask, like, some of you might be looking for love, but Venus in Gemini is going to unlock the cold, hard truths. It's going to help you see through delusion, and it's going to offer up some stuff and pills that may be hard to swallow. This is definitely a red pill, blue pill transit, okay? And you're going to really be brought into, oh my God, nose chakra. You're really going to be brought into a profound clarity of what's fake, what's real, what's true, what's a lie, and where do you stand? Because if you're like me, a part of you is fulfilling and representing this truth. Another part of you is encouraging a lot of this fakeness, all right? Even I'm guilty, all right? There's certain things I do that I probably shouldn't do in my behavior, like paying taxes to the IRS. But do I want to wait until it's acceptable, or do I want to be revolutionary? Let me be real with you. I'm going to pay taxes. Like, I have it right here. I have the voucher I'm supposed to pay for the whatever I was supposed to pay. And like, I already filed taxes. I'm not trying to end up like Lauryn Hill and go to jail. So this is where I lack in being a revolutionary. If I was a real revolutionary, I would just rip it up and be like, I'm not going to go down. So I'm going to pay the IRS my taxes. But if I was really about it, I would not do that. I would not do that. And this is where I have to work on myself. See, just in case you feel like I'm super revolutionary, I have my problems that I have to work through. And it is what it is. Shout out to Lauryn Hill. I hate that they had to get her like that. But yeah, my friend, really make sure that above all, the changes in your heart that occur, they're going to be powerful, magical changes in your heart that occur, because you're going to see clearly that certain things you thought were true about others, not at all. And this is going to change so much. Not what your heart is, but who you share that heart with. Another great part about Venus in Gemini is that it will be trining Jupiter in Libra. And this is the month where we're going to take existing connections and establish the next stage of them. All right. So one key feature of this, if they're people who you just met recently or people who you're just starting to get to know, this is going to be a season where your connection with them actually starts to evolve, because you're both speaking your truth. Connections and relationships with people you've had, they can change very drastically, because you're going to start to have a clash in beliefs. And the lesson here isn't which belief is right. It's how do you compromise, or how do you deal with the incongruence of beliefs? Okay. The deeper connections are going to come when Venus goes into Cancer, where Venus in Gemini is going to connect two hearts, or more than two hearts, that allow you to align with the truth of what's going on. All right. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go into the Peace Mobile and more accurately kind of show you how this is going to play. So no coincidence here, when Venus enters Gemini, the moon will be opposite it in Sagittarius. You have to pay attention to certain aspects like this. These are not coincidence. We need some kind of buffer when planets go into 0 degrees so that they are not too unstable. So us kicking off a Venus and Gemini transit, when we're uncovering the meaning of the sincerity we're developing through our lifestyle, is going to usher in such a very divine display of how magically we could rearrange what it is we think we believe to be true, what it is we see to be true, and how amazing, what coincidence that Mercury will be sextiling Venus, so that as we're speaking our truth, we're also expressing this with the courage of our hearts, adding passionate. You're going to see Leos just dancing everywhere and just like snapping on everyone. Leo and Sagittarius about to snap on every single person. You're just going to see them like getting triggered very easily, because what's going to happen, especially to Leo, is when they start to express the truth of their love, people are either going to block it off or they're going to gaslight them. And you cannot gaslight Leo. They will just go ham on you. They will burn you with their fire. And then when you're just a charred cinder, then they're going to be like, now you can take my love. So don't do that to Leo. Leo does not play, my friends. Like, They have destiny on their side, so don't play yourself. Like just don't play yourself. It's not worth it. You feel me? So make sure you stay true to the love in your heart. You might be someone who truly loves blow up dolls and you get made fun of by society. Better stay true to that love. Don't conform just because you're going to love something you don't really love, but other people love for you. Don't play yourself like that. So once again, the first decade of this Venus and Gemini transit from the 5th to the 13th, very key things happen. We're uncovering and processing a very magical awareness of how much has changed in our relationships. Meanwhile, the moon is transiting from Sagittarius to Pisces. Okay. And this is going to, at very great length, key us in profoundly to how well we could speak this truth while at a soul level uncovering greater aspects of our sincerity and how we feel. Moving forward, this is very important as the second decan of things is going to very profoundly shape a whole lot. And especially even before, when the moon is there, we have the direct square to Neptune. By the time the moon comes back in Gemini, we're going to have this trine to Libra. We're going to have this square to Neptune. We're going to have this opposition to Saturn. So if the 5th to the 13th is the initial awareness where everything starts to change for you concerning your heart, the second week is when you're going to be making the hardcore decisions where it's like, okay, am I really about this truth of my heart, which is unique to you? So I have to be vague and say truth of the heart because it's unique to you, however this like plays out. But you're going to have to make some very core decisions. This is when you have the fork in the road and it's like, do I follow the people who kind of align with what they think of me, or do I follow my own path and align with people who align with this truth? What's more important to you? No, you cannot have both. What's more important to you? Okay. Because another great facet of this is the relationships that are going to so wonderfully align. And if you're an Aquarius in the second decade, or just an Aquarius moon or rising, but really moon and sun or Venus or Mars, this is going to be sweet for you because the knowledge you have, you're going to know just who to say it to and just what to say. So keep this in mind because the Mercury is going to be on the North Node too, sextiling this. And you're developing a new truth of the heart. Okay. You're not only being aware, but you're developing and fine-tuning with the truth of what you speak to really pave the way for this new karmic chapter. Let's of course skip 2 days once we're in Leo season. You like this conjunction here? Ooh, we're going to talk about that in another live video. But when we get to the third decade now, from the 20th to the 30th, this is when love starts to get crazy. And now you have to be making radical decisions with your heart. And you'll be manifesting a crazy slant that expresses how powerful you are through the truth you speak. And then sextiling Pisces opposite Saturn. This is when, if you do this right, what you say should make you lose clients, friends, people who they thought they knew you, but it was really just what they expected you to be. This is refining very potently and powerfully who you are. And some people you work with in this life, no matter how they feel, you know what I'm saying? Let me just kind of get out of this. This is just more or less the transit that we're going to experience, okay? And then, of course, 29 degrees when we end in Saturn with this right here. So we definitely have a powerful Venus transit ahead of us. Look, at the end of the day, no matter how people smile in your face and act like they're aligning with your goals and they really want to see you succeed, at the end of the day, they have agendas for you. You're just pawns in their plans. It's very rare that you're going to meet someone that really cares about your well-being. And it is what it is. That it's not even their own fault for having ambitious plans on your life. But Venus in Gemini is where you speak your truth. And you're going to see where your truth clashes with other people's truth, and it's done so in a way where it's opposite Saturn. So it's not like you can really reach a compromise. What you say may rub someone the wrong way, and you don't want to sugarcoat it. You want to make sure you're speaking your truth. Because what is this also happening during? This is also happening during Cancer season, and then a little bit of Leo season, where you have to be 100% bold in your expression of your sincere feelings and the courage of your heart. Where Leos are just going to be going crazy for everyone because it's their birthday season again. They have the nerve to call it Cancer season Leo Eve. That's so cute. But I mean, it's kind of true. And really keep this in mind, my friends. Venus in Gemini is going to bring the change on its own because you've already done the work. The work is being done now with Venus and Taurus, doing the work to make sure you live in integrity with your values that you say for love. It's 22 degrees right now. So make sure you're actually having the value system on point. But regardless, really keep this in mind. And, you know, like I said, Juno's in Capricorn next to Pluto, and Lilith is in Sag. So another thing that we're going to experience is Venus opposite Lilith, and things are going to get really sexual. You just have to express it. Venus in Gemini is the transit where you have to be very open about your sexual desires, or Lilith will just frustrate your libido and just dangle sex in your face like, I know you want to have sex. I know, you know how Sagittarius will just be so annoying and dangle fruit in your face like, I know you want to have sex with me. I know you want to have sex with me. And then they'll just like let a titty out, just like, I know you want to lick my tit. I know you want to have sex. Ha 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 ha. And then you just have to get your Venus in Gemini and be like, yes, I do. What you gonna do? Or no, I don't want to have sex with you. And you really need to stop doing that. But don't tell Lilith no. She'll just make your life harder. Lilith is just going to express itself in some people. If Lilith comes, just have sex with her and let her just do her thing. And I'm talking about women too. Like some of you women, this Lilith can come through you. And you know what I'm saying? Like Lilith, just appease Lilith. Just let it go time. And then after maybe the third or first time, you'll be like, all right, chill, Lilith. Chill. I'm the boss here. Okay. And then she'll still dangle it. But it is what it is. The opposition with Gemini, Venus, and Lilith in Sagittarius is going to also tempt many of you in relationships to where you're in that predicament where you're like, oh my gosh, I just can't control myself around this person, but I'm married. Listen, that's not love. That's infidelity. Don't be an infidel. And don't let spirituality be the reason why you decided to cheat on a faithful partner. Like if you cannot be honest, Venus and Gemini. Venus and Gemini is honest to be like, hey, I'm feeling that person. Do you want to be with them? Can I have sex with them? Do we have to break up? Brutally honest. And this is where, you know, certain things start to happen. This is why I really advise you take the mega webinar about the asteroids that I covered: Juno, Lilith, Ceres, and Chiron. Venus will also be squaring Chiron before it enters into the next sign. And it's very important, of course, to really have a good understanding of how these asteroids affect people. I'm not gonna lie, my Juno's in Scorpio. So I know whoever I marry, she's gonna be dark, she's gonna be psychologically deep, she's gonna be sexual. And when I meet Scorpio risings, when I meet Venus and Scorpios, like I'm stuck to them. Like it's hard for me not to really, at a subconscious level, see them as someone who's wifey material. You want to look at that with Venus and the moon as well, especially for the man. But for the woman, this is what you're going to also express. And we're going to talk about perhaps the... Okay, some people are saying they can't hear me clearly at all. Is it the task cam? I think it's just because of the transmission. The choppy in the audio quality is more the internet. It's not really the mic. So I'm gonna just wait until it comes back. Because if you were hearing it nice before, the mic is working great. The mic is great. Like nothing changed over here. So it's not really the mic. It might be the internet. Oh, snap. A choppiness ever since I brought up Lilith. It's probably why. Hold on. This is weird. Are we still choppy? How is the sound going? The only reason why I say it's not the microphone is because y'all heard me perfect before, and I did not touch the mic. So it's either interference, because I didn't change its setting. You guys heard me perfectly before. Now it's choppy. It's something with the internet. So if it's still choppy, then I guess I just need to stop talking about Lilith, but that's just really weird. Oh, that's fucked up. How is the sound just gonna start acting all super petty? Oh well, I'm gonna have to change my mic setting. So I'm gonna just go back to the webcam mic, which just doesn't sound as good. How do I sound now? Is it I changed the setting to another microphone on my webcam. Is it a little better? Yeah, this is way better. I'm using my webcam now. I was using this blue mic before, and I swear to God, like, I didn't touch a single thing. So it is what it is. I'll have to work on that. But anyway, we back. Y'all can hear me. Like I was saying, I have my Lilith in Scorpio. So it's like, if I meet a Venus in Scorpio, if I meet a Scorpio rising, they harness that vibration for me. They show me what I'm supposed to reflect. And I'm really going to talk about that in length. As far as certain mysteries and mythology about these asteroids that you may not be aware of. So it definitely is worth tuning into. There really is no time limit, though. This webinar is going to be available. So, you know, if you can't afford it now, it will be available even if you're not live to watch it. Of course, anyone who's been in a webinar with me knows the value of joining live. So I'll definitely be able to take your Q&As as well. That being said, let's draw the cards. Last thing I want to leave you with, though, is that very realistically, okay, Venus in Gemini is going to so very profoundly transform and change your awareness of your heart and the love that attracts. So it doesn't matter what your relationships were like before. There's an initial awareness. That's the magic of Gemini. New change, and it's going to come in this July. All right. That being said, for Aries, the card that I have for you is the Ace of Wands again. I'm almost sure I pulled this before for you. So the Ace of Wands is talking about a great spark. If you have someone you're interested in, if you know someone you like, Ace of Wands, if there's something you want to start, you have the power to spark that instantly. So spark that. Talk to that person. Tell that person this is what you want to do with them, and see what happens, because it's going to be very passionate. All right. Taurus, for you, we have the Page of Pentacles. The Page of Pentacles has a lot to do very potently and powerfully with the work on your beauty you're doing, as well as like you gaining the D card. That is so funny, Emily. The Page of Pentacles has a lot to do with maybe someone really helping you out, but it's kind of you gaining an initial knowledge and awareness of your material reality, and you may be making certain initial investments. But the Page of Pentacles could be you also giving someone a gift, or you gaining a gift. Know that whatever you receive is going to grow like a seed into something more valuable, something definitely sentimental. Gemini, for you, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So it's very similar to Taurus. If anything, this could be the influence of someone very Virgoan or someone who's very reliable in your life. But it's talking about you taking a more reliable and practical, grounded approach to everything you do. That's going to help you deal with the squares and oppositions that occur. And then Cancer, we have a lot of royal cards. We have the Page of Swords. So Cancer, this Venus in Gemini, someone's going to put you on game. Someone's just going to fill you in. Like, you're going to have a secret spy probably lurking on someone's page, and they're just going to let you know the truth, the lowdown of whatever is going on. And it's some of you are not going to like that news. Some of you it's going to be very helpful. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. Leo, for you, we have the Seven of Cups. And this is saying you might find yourself a little bit drawn out. You might have too many options. You might have so many different people and choices to choose from. And don't make the trap of choosing. Mosquito, I will kill you live in front of 390 people. Get out of my face. Don't make the mistake of having to like choose, but rather like creatively visualize. See what all these people evoke within you, and really see past the illusion and see what you really want. Because there's someone fucking with you spiritually. There's someone that's kind of like in a spirit realm, kind of like giving you illusions, and you need to really draw on it in your inner light. Virgo, we have the Nine of Swords. No surprise here. You really want to have to deal with at terms your mental anxiety. And this comes because you worry about every single little thing. And when you worry about every single little thing, that's a negative vibration that grows. You're feeding that with your awareness of everything that can go wrong, because you refuse to believe that if you think positively, things can go right. And isn't that messed up? A lot of you may be going through some mentally traumatizing things, and the peace dealer is saying think positive. I wouldn't be saying that if it didn't work. But it's going to be super hard for you to do that. And best thing I can say is just journal out, write out the mental anxiety so that you can give it perspective. But this is a darkest before dawn period, and just let this transit that's going to square your sun bring into focus things that you might be a little bit too worried about. And Libra, we always pull great cards for Libra. What kind of conspiracy is this? Y'all always get like amazing cards. Not like you shouldn't, but goddamn Libra. We have the Empress, so some of y'all gonna get pregnant with your fifth baby. I'm showing you. Some of y'all are going to give birth to a great idea, but I see this as beauty. Venus in Gemini is going to just bring out your beauty and really show the world and others how beautiful your ideas are, how creative you are, and it's going to really help harvest a lot of positivity in your life. Empress is a great card to get. Scorpio Izzle. The card that I have for you is the Five of Swords. Okay, so that means Venus and Gemini, you're going to be speaking your truth, and people are going to get really sensitive over what you say. Like, I feel bad for Scorpio, because Scorpio is just going to be like, I like bananas. And then people are going to be like, how dare you? Do you know that some people are allergic to bananas? You shouldn't have to be that honest. What's wrong with you? Have a little bit of sensitivity. And then Scorpio is going to be like, but I was talking about bananas. Like, some of you Scorpios are going to have to speak with strict gender neutral language. You shed a little bit of honesty, people are going to be going to war with you just because you're telling the truth. This is the worst part. If you were lying, I can understand. If you were embellishing, I can understand. But you're telling the truth, and people are going to go to war with you. You better not back down. You might have to burn some bridges, my friends. Literally, the advice I'm supposed to say is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? You better be right. You better be right. It's not about being happy right now. You better fight for that truth. Sagittarius, the card that I have for you is also the Seven of Cups. So you and Leo are in the same boat right here. Sagittarius is just like they already have ADD, but it's just like ADHD, and now it's just like, but you're being played. Spirit is trolling you hard right now, Sagittarius. Spirit is tempting you with all the stuff you want with lust, just to test your integrity and to test your resolve and to test whether you're trying to go after it or you're already manifesting it. Don't get played. Just creatively visualize and imagine what you want without letting it haunt you, all right? Because Leo and Sagittarius, what this card is really saying is you can escape with substance abuse. And altered states of mind are going to inspire you, but if you get stuck there, you're going to be screwed, all right? Seven of Pentacles for the Capricorn. Capricorn, this is saying Venus in Gemini is going to have you examine your garden, and it's in your 6th house. So what it's going to do is very positively allow you at great length and focus to understand what you're doing that's working and what you're doing that's not working. Venus will align what you love in order to help you understand what needs to be fine-tuned, but really you just have to wait this period out. Aquarius, what we have for you is the Justice card. This Venus in Gemini transit is going to really balance the scales of karma, and anyone who's been playing you, anyone who's been lying to you by the sidelines, they're going to get played. Like, justice has got your back. If anything, this is going to bring into focus some karmic connections that you have as well that need to be worked out, where maybe they owe you something from a past life or you have a lesson to learn from them. And finally, Pisces, we do have the Two of Pentacles. This is a twin flame card, but I just poisoned your mind with twin flame rhetoric. This is more so you working with someone who has your back. And this Venus in Gemini is talking about you being very productive and you following the money, baby. So definitely, definitely awesome. The last card that I have for everyone for Venus in Gemini is the Temperance card. Make sure you do everything with moderation. Make sure you're definitely in a position that allows you to not only balance your lifestyle, but to really get great progression and traction. This is all about managing your time wisely and moderating all you do. Okay, so I know before I was talking to everybody about I'm gonna stop smoking. I'm gonna really limit the smoking that I do. I even told the Leo King a long time ago, like, I stopped smoking weed. Do you know every single day since then, I've done nothing but smoke weed. So I need to be honest to y'all, because that's me speaking my truth. That's being accountable. I don't want to call it an addiction. I think it's really more so one part of me fighting the other part of me that doesn't want to do it, and I have to find stasis. But yeah, I've quit smoking weed now for like 80 days in a row. And this has just been like my life for like years. Like, swear to God, like, it's not an issue between it being bad or good. I'm not quitting because it's bad. I want a tolerance break and I just want to moderate myself. And it is a coping mech because there's just so much bullshit that goes around. My Gemini air needs to fly. And it's like when I don't smoke, then the dark side of me is like, why are you not smoking? Like, you want to quit? Why? And it's just really learning to convince myself that there's a reason not to smoke. Once I don't have a reason to, it's hard to really, stick to something. Because it's like I still don't truly feel like I need to, even though I've acknowledged it. So yeah, I really do ask for your positive vibes, because it's not like I really want to quit, but I do want to have enough self-control to where I can be like, I'm not smoking for a while, and I know I can, but there's just another part of me that's just like, why? So help me find my reason. I have the discipline. Like, I have Moon on Saturn and Cap, so I've gone cold turkey. I've gone a whole month without smoking, and it's nothing. I didn't have any withdrawals, but it's a philosophy thing. It's a part of me that's like, why? And I need to find my reason. I hope I find my reason for real. A lot of you think you're addicted. You need to find your reason. You know what I mean? You really need to find that. And I'm still in the midway of determining whether it's good. So I don't want to be faking. A lot of y'all have been, encouraging me on my path. Like, hey, it's great that you stopped smoking. I'm gonna be real. I haven't really. In fact, I might go get some after this broadcast. So these are still real things that I'm dealing with. And it is what it is. I'm very grateful for all of the energy that we have shared, and let us close out with a short ritual / prayer. We're not praying to any deities. We're not praying to any higher beings. We're just praying amongst each other. And what I hope manifests is right now, within the next 24 minutes to 24 hours, is a profound experience that keys us into the sincerity we're developing and shows us more the power of our magic through the essence of who we are. Thank you once again for tuning in. Venus is going to be in Gemini the 5th of July to the 30th. And join me next time I go live on Saturday when I do that weekly. But also join me on Thursday when I peace talk Amber Khan. That's just going to be lit.